All right, we are at the top of the hour, so I think we should begin. Welcome everybody once again to this month's edition of our ACT training webinar series. This month we're going to talk about putting ACT marketing automation to work for you, and I'm going to show you three real-world use cases uh, that might spur you to have some ideas, inspire you to use ACT marketing automation, perhaps in ways that you haven't done before, or even use it for the first time at all. So let's do a couple of house cleaning items before we begin. If you're new to this webinar series, welcome. Um, we take questions. We're going to do questions inside the Q&A panel inside Zoom. So locate that panel and open it. And that's where you'll be able to ask questions from us throughout the duration of this webinar. I've got Ed and Dan on the line here. They're going to help answer some of those questions as we go. So please give us your questions. Now, I'm hoping that you'll stay on topic with ACT marketing automation. That's what they're here to do. So please try to stay on this topic if you can. This webinar is also being recorded. You're going to receive a link to it after we conclude today. And you'll also be able to find this webinar along with the previous 17 webinars that we've presented on act.com/explore. And I'll talk a little bit more about that page a little bit later here. At the conclusion of this webinar, you might be selected to take a survey. If you are, please let us know how we did. And also, if you have any ideas for future webinars, let us hear it. We're all ears here. We want to know what you want to know. Now, today, I want to show you three practical solutions, three practical use cases for ACT marketing automation, for using that to gather leads, to promote services or events, to follow up and nurture the customers that you already have, creating automated communications, newsletters, surveys, and more. There's a lot to cover today, so let's just get going. Quick word of introduction. My name is Brent Milner. I've been with the ACT training team for 18 years now, and if you've ever watched an ACT training video, it's probably my voice that you hear. My job is to help train our staff, to train our partners and our customers. I live up in the mountains of northern Arizona, way up at the 7,000-foot elevation where we get lots of snow. And yes, there is snow in Arizona. It's not just a dry desert, but don't tell anybody that. So before we dive into these demos today, I want to take just a moment to talk about what putting ACT to work for you really means. It means a lot of different things to different people doing different types of work, serving in different roles across different industries. But at the end of the day, what it comes back to for everyone across the spectrum is the ability to leverage the technology investment that you've made in ACT to do things smarter, faster, and better. Really, what you want to do is to reap the benefits of having ACT serve as that sales and marketing assistant that you wish you had, working on your behalf at all times. Not just when you're in the office, but also when you're off the clock or even sleeping. And we'll get into that a little bit more later on. The fact is, everybody's busy. We understand from interacting with a lot of ACT users over the years that many of you are long on work, you're short on time and resources, and you're often forced to wear many different hats, fulfilling different roles in your business throughout the course of a typical day. That's not easy. And more importantly, we hear from users that they often feel like they're on a hamster wheel, just responding to the needs of the day or putting out fires, so to speak, but never really having the time to take a step back and actually work on their business instead of just in their business. And that's where the magic of technology comes in and where you can put it to work on your behalf. I'm going to show you a few ways how you can do this today using ACT. And again, this is going to take different forms for different people and different businesses. Some ACT users may benefit from automating repetitious tasks or best practices that either take a lot of time to do manually or that they frankly just do inconsistently as a result. Other ACT users may need to do outreach to more people, to a broader audience than they physically can do calling or writing or visiting themselves because they need to hit numbers. They need to meet their quotas or fill their pipeline, whatever the case may be. Still, other ACT users may benefit from finding general efficiencies related to technology. saving time and frustration, for example, by having customer data automatically synchronized in one integrated system. And the bottom line here is whether it's through automation or integration or by increasing your reach or by enhancing your digital presence, ACT can help you scale beyond the boundaries of what any one human being is capable of doing, no matter how much each of you may play the role of Superman or Superwoman over the course of your weeks. Now, that ability to scale can help you grow if that's your objective, or it can free up time for you to focus on your craft or your passion if that's what's most important to you. Or you can enable, or it can enable you to finally operate the business the way you always intended to, delivering outstanding customer experiences that give you a sense of pride. So I mentioned earlier that we're going to give you very tangible, practical examples today and demonstrations too, not just slides. I want to show you how you can put ACT to work for you. And I want to introduce you to Mike, Rob, and Sarah. These are what I'll call three archetypes of ACT customers. Think of them as common representations or personas of typical ACT users. The reality is that each of you and each of your businesses are unique. And that's what makes them special. But hopefully, as we tell you more about these folks and their stories, you'll be able to see some of yourself in one of them in particular, or perhaps a bit in all of them. So Mike, Rob, and Sarah here, they're very different in many ways. Their business models are different. Who they serve and how they serve them is different, as is how they spend their time day to day. But they have a number of things in common as well. For example, they're all really busy and they're all passionate about their craft and about delivering great experiences. And they all rely on technology in different ways just to run their businesses. One thing is for sure, though, they each could benefit from that sales and marketing assistant that they never knew they had. And while they share that in common, when we think about how each of them can more effectively put ACT to work for them, it's going to take on different forms for each. So that's what I'm going to show you today. And I want to start by getting to know Mike a little better. We'll start with Mike. He's 62 years old. He runs a family-run plumbing supply company, and he has a great reputation as a long-timer in the industry. He's known for his fair prices, his on-time delivery, and service with a smile, if you will. Now, twice a year, Mike goes out on the road for several weeks and he hits the trade show circuit and construction expo circuit. And there he interacts with hundreds of wholesale and retail prospects. His challenge, as someone who rarely finds himself at his desk, involves capitalizing on the momentum from all of the contacts he makes at these events and also the great conversations that he has. But he wants to do it in a very efficient and prioritized way. And so let's do our first demo by taking a look at how Mike puts ACT to work for him by using email marketing and promotions, lead and list management, and targeted outbound follow-up. So we're going to jump into this demo and we're going to talk about Mike. Now, as I mentioned, at trade shows, Mike has instructed visitors at his booth to just drop their business cards into a fishbowl if they'd like to be added to his monthly newsletter to receive more information about his company. And additionally, he says he'll provide them, he'll email them a 15% discount coupon for their first purchase. Now, Mike is familiar with Microsoft Excel. So what he's done is he's gathered all of the emails that he's received from these business cards, all the contact information really, and he's created an Excel spreadsheet. Now, this spreadsheet contains the information for each of the contacts in its own row here. Now, in the spreadsheet, he also created a column on the right called Referred By, and then he entered February 2024 trade show in this column for each of these contacts, because that's going to help him remember where these new contacts came from. If we go over to ACT now, Mike used the simple import tool in the tools menu on ACT Premium Cloud. It's in the file menu if you're on the desktop version of ACT. And in there, there's an import tool where you can import a spreadsheet like this. You just browse to it on your computer, and I'll show you what Mike did here. He did a custom import because he wanted to map one of those specific fields to a field in ACT. And the field we were talking about is the referred by field. He wanted to make sure that all of the people he met at this trade show are notated as coming from the February 2024 trade show. So once he did this import, all those contacts came into his ACT account, into his ACT database. And if we look up one of them now, a person named Tim Braithwaite, we'll see that on the detail view of Tim's contact record, in the referred by field, that information imported successfully. Now, this is important because this is a trick that allows Mike to group all of these contacts together for any future marketing efforts. So what I want to do is take a look at the groups area now, and I'll show you what Mike has done. Mike created a group, I can locate it here, there it is, called Trade Show 2024. And if we take a look at that, we'll see that he created a simple rule in the contacts area. He created a rule that says any contact where the field name is equal to February 2024 trade show, I want to add those contacts to this group. And so with that rule in place, Mike doesn't have to manually manage this group. ACT does that work for him. These are the 6 contacts from that spreadsheet that got imported into ACT and also automatically added to this group in ACT. Now that's important to remember later on, but right now I just want you to know that there is a group that represents the people Mike met at the most recent trade show. So he's going to use this group for his marketing campaign efforts in the next step of his operation. So let's go into ACT Marketing Automation now. And I will say Mike knows a lot about plumbing, but he really doesn't know a lot about marketing automation. But I want to show you how Mike easily created a simple marketing campaign that is tailored to these new prospective customers. So in marketing automation in the campaigns area, Mike created a marketing campaign. You may also know this of this terminology as a drip marketing campaign. He created one called Trade Show 2024 February. If I click on that to look at it, we can see that this is a fairly straightforward campaign. First of all, there's a couple of stages in here. This is a little workflow that follows through from the start of the campaign all the way through to the end. If you're familiar with workflows, then this will be easy for you. If not, just follow the arrows and it'll tell you what's happening and when it's happening. The first stage here is an email stage. And so what I want to show you is this is a thank you email. And this first email, if I look at it, we can show what this is actually displaying. This is a thank you email that Mike is going to send out to each person who put their business card in his fishbowl. Now, if I look at this email, Mike found this template. He didn't design this template himself. He found this template in the actions menu on the right where it says import templates. If I click that, it'll show you that there's a library of templates that are available for you that have done all the design work for you. So he selected one of these templates, and then all he had to do was replace some items that made more sense to him. For example, at the top of his email, he replaced the generic logo with his own company logo, Midwest Plumbing Supply. This template already had a coupon available for him, and so that applied to him. He's giving 15% off to his customers for that first purchase. And so he had to change the button down here and where it linked to. He had to maybe change some of the text down below to customize it towards his own business. And then even down below, maybe if he has social media links, he could change these buttons to point to his own social media sites. And once he's finished, he'll save this template, and then he'll go to back to the campaign workflow. Now, the second thing that Mike said he would do for his visitors at his booth at the trade show is to add them to his company newsletter. So that first step was to send them a thank you email and a 15% coupon. But the second step was going to be add them to his newsletter, whether it's a monthly newsletter or a quarterly newsletter. He wants to add them to that newsletter campaign. And if I click on this action step, we can see that I can edit this action and we'll see that's what it's doing here. It's adding them to a drip marketing campaign that's called Mike's Plumbing newsletter. So fantastic. His campaign is doing these two things very effectively. Now notice that adding them to this newsletter is going to happen one day after that thank you email gets sent out. If he wants to change the time delay on this, he can do that too. So maybe he doesn't want it to be one day. Maybe he wants it to be instantly happening at the same time as the thank you email. You can click on this arrow and change that duration to 0 days. When you save that, that 1 day delay will now be changed to an instant response. So all these things are going to happen now at the same time. So after Mike has made all the changes that he wants, he would then activate this campaign, and the emails would go out as scheduled to the visitors of his booth from the trade show. So is that all? Well, no. Let's just say that some time has passed. Maybe a week has passed or 2 weeks have passed. Mike can go back to this campaign then and look at the results. I'm going to show you one of my other campaigns so that you can see how that might look. I have a generic newsletter campaign that I use just to test some things out. And if we edit that, what Mike can do is on the email step of his campaign, he can then view the statistics of that specific email. Now here you can view a variety of deliverability statistics at the top, like how many people received the email versus how many opened it or unsubscribed. And then down below, he can view, he can really drill down and choose the statistics that matter the most to him. Maybe he wants to see which of his contacts were most engaged, who opened it, who actually clicked on some of the links within this email. He can use these little mini reports to find out which specific contacts are most engaged with his campaign. This helps save him time. It removes any guesswork. And from these results, Mike can determine which contacts are his hottest leads. Since his time is limited, he can engage in a targeted outbound call follow-up to the contacts who are most engaged with him, and he can reach out to them first. So what I want to do now is go back and let's have a look at our second scenario here. Next up, this is going to be Rob. Rob is a certified financial planner. He's 36 years old. He lives in Los Angeles, and he recently left, well, maybe not recently. He left a big accounting firm because he wanted to open up his own solo practice 5 years ago. Now, when he started out on his own, while he had extensive education and knowledge on the financial side of things, he quickly realized that it was relationship management that was going to set him apart from his competition and generate those extremely valuable word-of-mouth referrals that would fuel his growth and his success. So over time, and also through trial and error, he crafted a process, a set of steps or best practices that, as long as he follows these steps consistently, he knows it's going to generally lead to high client satisfaction, and also repeat business. He's got some challenges though. One of them is though, as he grew and he took on more clients, he wasn't sure how he could scale his process and those best practices across a bigger client base without losing that personal touch and the customer intimacy that really was his calling card. So what I want to do is let's take a look at how Rob puts ACT to work for him via customer communications, his best practice process automation, newsletters, and surveys, among other things. Now, as I mentioned, Rob is a financial planner. He's got a growing business of loyal customers, and he's discovered if he nurtures them when they're new, not only will they evolve into long-term clients, but these customers are also going to become Rob's champions and his ambassadors. They're going to refer even more customers to him. And so Rob has acquired a few new clients through referrals, and over time, he's found that the best way to nurture these new customers is to simply reach out to them 4 times over the course of their first year at 90-day intervals. But since his client base is growing, he wants to let ACT Marketing Automation manage this new client lifecycle campaign for him, just to make sure he doesn't forget anybody along the way. So he's created a campaign called New Client Lifecycle. And I'm going to take a look at that. This campaign is meant to nurture new customers through 5 stages or 5 steps over the course of their first 12 months with him. And so let's look at each of these steps with some detail, and some we'll just kind of glaze over because we've already explored some of these steps before. This first step instantly gets sent out when he receives a new customer. And this is a welcome email kit that he likes to send to all of his new customers. So this is an email that maybe just includes introductory items like his phone number, his website, and what they can expect as a new customer. Then we can see there's an arrow here that 90 days will expire before the next stage. And I should mention that usually these workflows are in a horizontal view like this. You can also toggle it to be a vertical view if you like that view better. I prefer the horizontal one, but I just wanted to make sure you knew that that was an option. So there's a little toggle button up here where you can change the view. So step 2, which takes place after the first 3 months, at the first quarter mark of the year of a new customer, Rob is going to send out his newsletter to all of his new customers. Now, this can be done one of several ways. Now, he could have included an action step here that just simply added them automatically to his newsletter email campaign. But in this case, Rob wanted to be a little more involved, a little more intimately involved with his customers. And so what he did is he's sending them an introductory newsletter email. And inside this email, it shows his customers how they can manually sign up for that regular newsletter if they're interested. Rather than just automatically subscribing them to it, he wants to give them the option. Now, we reach step 3, which is the 180-day mark. Now, this is the half-year point. And so Rob emails a survey to these new customers. He wants to do a health check with them. He wants to make sure that they're completely satisfied with his service so far. So what I want to do is let's take a look at this survey to see how Rob is going to benefit from it. Now, surveys are over in the landing pages area of Act Marketing Automation. And his survey is called the Rob Satisfaction Survey. I'm going to click that to have a look at it. Down at the bottom, there's a link where you can view any of those forms or surveys. And so here's the one that Rob designed. He can use the results of these questions really to follow up with his customers personally. So there's a few questions here. He asks them their full name, their email address, and this is really just to make sure that the survey responses get matched up with a contact record inside ACT. If there isn't a contact record in ACT, the survey will create one for him. So he also asks them if they understand how their investments are working for them, how his communication frequency is working. And then this question is a little bit more important. I'm going to focus on this question next. What he's saying is, on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate our overall service? And he wants to follow up with this. If they're giving him a score that's lower than what he would consider to be an acceptable number, such as 7 maybe, he wants to follow up with them to see what's going on there. And so if I go back into this form, I'm going to edit it to show you what Rob has done. Here's where the questions are laid out. Again, full name, email address, understanding of investment dollars, communication frequency, and then here's the satisfaction rating. This satisfaction rating question, if we edit it, we can see that Rob has mapped their answers to a custom field that he created called survey rating inside his ACT database. So every contact who fills out this survey, this number that they put on this question will be tied to their contact record. And so now that allows Rob to not only know how everybody answered, but to follow up if they gave an especially low number. And so maybe one of the things he did is set up a group in ACT for anybody who answered 7 or lower on their satisfaction rating. Let's go into groups and I'll show you how he did that too. We jump into groups in ACT. He's got a list of surveys that he's created before, and he has groups for individual survey responses. But the one I'm looking at here is called unsatisfied customers. So he created a group, he named it unsatisfied customers, and he really wants to list all customers here who gave him a rating of 7 or lower. And so all he had to do was create a little rule here that says find all contacts who have a survey rating that is less than or equal to 7. So anytime somebody gives them a rating of 7 or less, they're going to automatically be added to this group for Rob. So great. Now, what does he do with that? Well, back in Ag Marketing Automation, what Rob has done is he has created a campaign over there where he can follow up with any of his unsatisfied customers. So there's a campaign here called Unsatisfied Customer Follow-up. And if we look at this campaign, we see it's very simple. It's just a simple action step that tells Rob we need to make a phone call to this customer. And if I look at this action step a little more closely, we can see that it's a call action type or activity called unsatisfied customer survey response, and then some instructions in the note area of that activity. So ACT is automatically going to create call activities for anybody who rates lower or 7 or lower. It's going to put an activity on his calendar to say, call them and find out what happened and how do we resolve it. So this little automated feature really helps Rob nurture the customers who aren't doing so well so that he can bring them back up to where he wants them to be. Now, I've gone on a little bit of a tangent here from this life cycle campaign. So let's go back to that campaign and see the final 2 steps here. We go to Rob's new client life cycle campaign. Just a review, instantly for the first year, his new customers will get a welcome email and a welcome kit. They'll be allowed to sign up for the newsletter. And then at the half-year mark, they'll be able to fill out a survey. At the 9-month mark, Rob has created an action stage which schedules a call activity inside ACT with each new contact as soon as they reach the 9-month milestone. Now, this call is meant to review his customer's account together with them so that together they can make any adjustments or recalibrations as needed over the next 90 days for their financial accounts. So he's keeping that personal touch with them. His customers are feeling like he's not forgotten about them, that he wants to be involved and he wants them to succeed because he's automated this step for each of his new customers. And then finally, the last stage takes place at the 360-day mark, the year mark. And after the year, these new customers will reach this final step in the workflow. And at this point, Rob is going to graduate them from being new customers. So what he's done is he's created an action step here, which is going to automatically enroll these customers into his existing client lifecycle campaign that he creates each year. So after you're a new customer, he doesn't forget about you. From that point, he puts you into a different campaign that works with customers who have been there for longer than 1 year. And so Rob has found that his customers are so happy by this point that they refer 3 friends on average, and this cycle continues as his business expands. So Rob has successfully put ACT to work for him by automating a best practice life cycle for his new customers. Let's go look at our 3rd customer profile now. So finally, here we have Sarah. She is 27 years old. She's a wedding photographer, and she started her own business after art school because she wanted to follow her passion, and she wanted to also have the freedom and flexibility as a business owner and an entrepreneur. Now, Sarah is fairly tech savvy, and she's comfortable with life in the digital era. And being on her own, she knew that her success would largely depend on her ability to leverage things like search engine marketing, which she taught herself, in addition to using traditional print advertising, which is still very common in this arena. She wants to use things like that, and also events and things like bridal shows and magazines. Now, her challenge is that while she does have a sophisticated website, she points everybody to that website, and that website showcases her portfolio. Sarah is rarely at her desk. She's rarely able to take calls from prospective clients just due to the nature of her work. And this basically means that her website is her face to the world, and she needs technology to work on her behalf night and day to field inquiries and quote requests to provide the acknowledgement and responsiveness that people are expecting, and to serve up pre-scheduled actions for her to perform when she does have a few hours of downtime between her engagements. Sarah's case is a perfect example of needing that sales and marketing assistant that she never knew she had. And so what I want to do is take a look at how Sarah puts ACT to work for her digitally by using things like web lead captures, email responders, group and list management, and workflow automation. We're going to look at our final demo here using this example of Sarah. Now, in this example, like I mentioned, Sarah runs her own photography business. She works odd hours, especially nights and weekends, spending much of her time on various locations doing shoots for her customers. It doesn't give her much time to make calls and search for new clients, so she relies on word of mouth advertising, print advertising, digital advertising. All of these things point to her website. So how great would it be if ACT worked for her as a hands-free solution while she was out on assignment? I've taken a screenshot of one page of her website. Now, on this page, Sarah has a form which allows prospective customers just to provide basic contact information and really request a quote for a wedding photographer. This form has 4 fields. She's asking for their name, their email address, their phone number, and when is their wedding date. And we're going to see that by using ACT Marketing Automation, you can tie a form on a website into a landing page in ACT Marketing Automation to be used with ACT. So if we go into ACT, I'm going to look at the guts of this form, of what it looks like behind the scenes. So I'm going to find her quote request form, or landing page. And if I edit this form, we can see what's taking place behind the scenes. Now, there are 4 questions on this form, and they match the website perfectly. We've got name, email, phone number, and wedding date. Whenever potential customers complete the form, Sarah has instructed ACT Marketing Automation to pull the results of these submitted questions into specific fields of her ACT database. So, for example, if I edit the email question, we'll see that where it says map to an ACT field, it's mapping to the field in ACT called email address. And that just means whenever anybody fills out this form on Sarah's website, ACT is going to create a contact record for him, and it's going to capture all that data so that she can use it going forward. Now, after potential customers submit this form, they're going to progress to the end stage. So as soon as they click that submit button on the workflow, they end up at the end stage. And this stage on the workflow is powerful for Sarah because she's using the end stage to perform 2 automated actions. So let's look at these actions. I'm going to click on that end stage, and from here, we're going to edit the end actions just to see what's there. Now, first, Sarah has created an end action that will automatically add these contacts to a specific group in ACT. She created this group already. It's called Photography Quote Requests. And here you can see that how ACT Marketing Automation is seamlessly tied to her growing ACT database. Now, I mentioned before that Sarah is fairly savvy. She knows that she can leverage a group like this within a separate campaign. So let's have a look at a different campaign here that she created. And what she wants to do is anybody who requested a quote, she wants to add them to a marketing campaign. So here is the campaign. It's called Photography Quote Thank You. If we look at its properties by going to the Actions menu and choosing Campaign Properties, we'll see that the audience for this campaign is the group that she created. There it is, Photography Quote Requests. So this campaign is populated by people who submit that form on her website. They automatically get added to a marketing campaign. And in the campaign, we have one step that is an email. It's a thank you email. It sends an email to anybody who requested a quote, and it informs them that Sarah's going to reach out to them within 24 hours. So they submit a campaign, or they submit a form to her or a quote request to her, and they immediately get an email that thanks them and lets them know, hey, within 24 hours, Sarah's going to reach out to you. So let's go back to this landing page and see how that applies to Sarah. If I go back to her uh, quote request campaign, and again, go into this end stage and look at the end actions, we'll see that the second action has to fulfill that promise she made about reaching out to them within 24 hours. And so here what she's done is she's created a call activity that says discuss photography quote request. And it just shows her, hey, you received a request for a quote. You got to call them and discuss it. So this will appear on her calendar immediately. And this way, she'll never miss a prospective new client. She'll stay on top of it, and she'll stay timely with new people as they reach out to her on her website. So ACT works hard for this photographer by setting up all the easy shots as the good assistant that she never knew she had. So to bring it back home, it's obvious from getting to know our three folks here a little bit better that while they and their business are definitely different, there is no doubt that they all benefit from having technology constantly working on their behalf. And this happens whether they're out on the road or in client meetings or even working late at a formal event. Mike, Rob, and Sarah, they all gain from having that extra hand or that virtual assistant, if you will, help them to scale or to stand out from the crowd. Or frankly, just not neglect basic duties that drive their business over the course of their busy day. Now, hopefully you can see a bit of yourself or identify with one or more of these folks, and that you picked up a few ideas or at least the inspiration to explore what might be possible for you and your business as you think about how you could better put ACT to work for you. There's no one right way to do this. The key really is just to have a plan to get started. And then as you go, you just gradually refine and improve it as you go day to day. Now, I want to remind you that the ACT Marketing Automation Basic Plan is already included with your ACT subscription. If you have questions about ACT Marketing Automation, you have a few options here. You can go to act.com/pricing, and then just scroll down on that page to the ACT Marketing Automation section, and there it shows you which plans include which features as well as the costs for each. You can also give us a call if you want at one of the numbers on this screen. And if you're already connected to an ACT certified consultant, just drop them a line to see how they can help you. As we come to a close here, I just want to remind you that we provide these free live training webinars on the last Wednesday of every month. Just go to act.com/explore if you want to sign up and be reminded of upcoming webinars that you could watch live. Or on this page, you can also watch any of our previous sessions on demand. And again, we're always interested in creating new webinars with the topics that interest you most. So just drop us an email at team@act.com and let us know what we should do next month. So thank you for joining us from wherever you are today. I hope you picked up some knowledge and some inspiration today to help ACT work for you and your business. We're going to stay on the line for a few more minutes to finish answering any questions in the Q&A area of Zoom. Have a great leap day tomorrow. And we'll chat again next month. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.